up until reading your book, I would have said that the prime enemy is ignorance, right? It's the things you're ignorant about, the things other people are ignorant about. Those are the problems. And what we need is to illuminate those things for ourselves and for each other, right? And I mean, certainty is, I guess it's tied to that, right? Because certainty is saying, no, I'm not ignorant at all. I totally know what I'm talking about. And right. And you wouldn't know you're ignorant. Right. Yeah. And so so there's a tension there, but they also kind of play this kind of, flip sides of the coin for each other, ignorance and certainty, because if you're certain, you'll never know whether you're ignorant. Right.
Yeah. 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 You'll never know what you're missing. Yeah.
So I'm curious, let's talk about it like practically, because, just yesterday I was interacting with somebody on Twitter, the Thunderdome of discourse. And, they made a point basically saying, something to the effect of, because I was saying something about how, there's plenty of dishonesty and bad behavior to go around, and that it's not exclusive to any one side of anything.
Yeah.
And that I try my best to point it out no matter where I see it, right? I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to be blind to stuff and I'm going to be biased, but I'm trying to do it that way. And their response was something to the effect of, there's a false equivalence here. Like the striking that balance is totally wrong, because on the one hand, you have people advocating for social justice. And then on the other hand, you have people who want to dismantle democracy as we know it. Right. And so then I said, well, when you frame it that way, of course, striking the balance seems crazy, because who would be against advocating for social justice? Right. And who would be for dismantling democracy as we know it? Only terrible people. Right. And their response was, yes, that's what they are. Yeah. Terrible people. Right.
Yeah, no.
And that's the problem, right? I feel like that's exactly the thing you're zeroing in on. So what would you do in that scenario? How would you jump in there?
So if somebody were to say that,
imagine that same thing.
This is the framework. Yeah. Right. I mean, I would ask questions. I would just begin by asking questions. And sharing my own experience. So gosh, let's see. So if somebody puts it that way, I think I would begin honestly by, roughly kind of saying almost exactly what you said about like, well, you're right. You're right. When you frame it that way, of course, that makes a lot of sense. But I got to tell you, that's not the way it looks to me. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you more about how it looks to me? And I would ask the question, because it can help in a conversation to get buy-in. When somebody goes, I'll listen. Mm-hmm. And if they go, okay, tell me how it looks to you, and I can share stories. I can share stories about many conservatives, and I've talked to, Republicans, I've talked to several of whom have a lot of doubts about the election. And they hold those beliefs and in good faith, at least it looks to me, who absolutely would defend our democracy. That's not the motivation behind their concerns whatsoever. That the way they see it, it's the other side that's hurting democracy, right? So I would just put into question the assumption that there are people against democracy.
Right.
I don't think that that's what's motivating the very, concerning division and confusion that's going on that we're going to have to solve. And then as far as social justice, right, the presumption in that binary that was laid out was that, the people who fight for social justice are all on one, just happen to all be on one political side or something like that. I would clarify whether that's what that person meant. I would ask a lot of clarifying questions first. When you say social justice, what do you mean? I would ask these questions. And then if it's what I think it might be, then I would get into that. I would share stories again about people who might believe the things, people who might fit the category that they see as terrible people, who I have interacted with and who are pushing for social justice in a lot of wonderful ways in their own lives. So at least something that I think could be defined as social justice. And I would present my definition and have it open for discussion and just ask again, what do you mean when you say that? What to you is an ultimately just society? who is heard, who is fought for, you know, who is protected in an ultimately just society. And maybe the conversation would go there. We'd reach that level of fundamental value. And I would ask a lot about, what are you ultimately concerned about here? Because that binary, it's compelling. And I've been there and I hear you. Like what is fueling that for you? You know, and they might talk about, again, I'm guessing, but they might talk about power. All right, let's talk about power. That's a great conversation. Let's talk about how power shows up in race and in class and in wealth and in geography and in all the ways that it shows up. Education. Let's talk about power. So yeah, I don't know. I think that would be the beginning of a really fascinating set of exchanges.